found it.
Okay. Oh my God.
I think your phone's ringing.
That's my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about arithmetic.
I don't think you have your camera.
Yeah, it's right there.
Just
Thanks, though. All right, so we're going to talk next about averages. And when you hear the word average, most people know how to find an average. To get an average of a set of numbers, you add them up and then divide by how many there were in the set. So, for example, the average of 3, 5, and 10. You would add those together and get 18. And then there's 3 numbers in the set, so 18 divided by 3, the average of these 3 numbers would be 6. Unfortunately, most of the time on the SAT, you're not given a set of numbers and asked for the average. They want to make the questions a little bit harder than that. So the easy way to remember the relationships involved in averages is by memorizing the average pi. Alright, so in the average pi, you have a circle. And you draw a T inside of the circle, and it's total number average. When I used to teach this for the Princeton Review, and we weren't associated with school, and we could be a little bit more risque, we called this the T and A circle. And if you don't know what T and A is, somebody can explain what T and A is, but might help you remember a little bit better the total number average circle. So how you would use this is they're going to give you 2 of the 3 things, or you're going to be easy. It'll be easy to find 2 of the 3 things, and then so you'll cover up whatever it is you're looking for, and what's left will be the formula you're going to use. So, for example, if I want to know the total, I cover up total. I'm going to multiply the number and the average together. If I want to know the average, I'm going to cover up the average. I'm going to divide the total by the number. If I want to know the number of things, I'm going to cover up the number and divide the total by the average. So if they're next to each other, you multiply them. If they're on top of each other, you divide them. Okay. So the next slide kind of explains that. If you want to find any one element, cover it up, and what remains is the formula for finding it. So if we go back and look, the total divided by the number of things is the average. The total divided by the average is the number of things, and the number of things times the average is the total. So to solve any average problem, put whatever elements you're given into the average pi, solve for the remaining element. The problem is always going to give you 2 parts out of the 3. All right, so the first quick quiz is going to give you a chance to try out the average pi. So I think we're on quick quiz number 9, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick quiz number 9. One easy, one medium, one hard. So take about 5 minutes. And we'll go over those.
The only reason I'm going to remember that average circle is because
I know, that's why. Okay, so we'll go ahead and work these. Alright, so let's see how to use this average pi. Alright, so the average of 3 numbers is 22. And the smallest of these numbers is 2. If the other 2 numbers are equal, each of them is what? Alright, so if you use the average pi, remember total number average, right? They give you the average, it's 22, so that goes here. They give you the number of things. We have 3 numbers. So we can find the total of the 3 numbers. We have the average, right? We've got total, number, average. We've got the number of things and their average. If you multiply those together, since they're next to each other, that means the total is 66, right? And we're talking about 3 numbers that have to total the 66. The smallest one is 2. The other 2 have to be the same. and they have to add to 2 to give 66. So if you subtract 2 from 66, you'll get 64. So these two have to add up to 64, and for them both to be the same, they have to both be 32. So C. Alright, does that make sense? You said use a circle. Okay, so let's try the next one. Caroline scored 85, 88, and 89 on 3 of her 4 history tests. If her average score for all tests was 90, what did she score on her 4th test? Okay, so they give you her average. Her average is 90. And they tell you how many things came together to make that average. She took 4 tests. So we know that the total of all of her test grades, if you multiply those together, has to be 360. So they give you 3 of her test scores. 360. 85, 88, and 89. So you can figure out what her 4th one is. Add those up and subtract from 360. What is it?
262.
You add those up, you get 262. So 262 plus her 4th score has to be 360. You said that's 98?
Mhm.
Yeah. Alright. Okay. Number 14 is hard for a couple of reasons. The first reason is it takes 2 total number average circles to work this out. Okay, because we were talking about 2 different averages, the averages of 2 groups of numbers. So, in the first group, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 things that average to 6. Right? 8, 13, X, and Y. That's 4 things. Their average is 6, so that means 8 plus 13 plus X plus Y has to total to 24. Alright?
Just put it back in the tray.
Yeah. Then in the next group we have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that average to 8. Which means that 15 plus 9 plus X has to equal 32. I'm going to actually start with this second one because it only has 1 variable in it, and so I can figure out what X is, and then I can plug that in up here and figure out what Y is. So down here, 15 plus 9 is 24, X plus X is 2X. And so if I subtract 24 from 32, I'll get 8. And then if I divide by 2, X is 4. So now I can come back up here to the other one. 8 plus 13 plus 4, that's 25. So Y would have to be negative 1. So if they talk about more than one group of numbers or more than one average, make more than one average pi or TNA circle, whatever you're going to call it. Okay. So averages. Most of the time if they ask about averages, it's not just going to be what's the average. You saw on all of these we use the average pi to find the total. That's pretty common. You don't use it very often to find the average. Okay, so the last thing in arithmetic that we're going to talk about. Bye, kids. I'll see you tomorrow. Continue. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is median, mode, set, intersection, and union. Oh, went too far there. Okay. Each of these terms involves finding a value or values in sets of numbers. You've probably heard of median and mode before. A set is just what these terms apply to, but you may not have heard of intersection and union before. So we'll look at those and you'll see some symbols that you may have seen on the SAT and wondered what they were. Well, you'll know after today. So a set, the word set is just a fancy term for a list of numbers. A lot of times they show that something is a set by using the little curly brace brackets around it. Okay? But a set's just a list of numbers. So to find the median of a set, you want to put the set in order from least to greatest. You want to put the group of numbers in order from the smallest to the biggest. If the group has an odd number of elements, the median is just the middle number. So, for example, this set here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a true middle. 9 is truly in the middle. There's 2 numbers on this side of it, 2 numbers on this side of it. 9 is right in the middle of that group. So 9's the median. If your group has an even number, oh, and this is another example of one that has a true middle. If your group has an even number of elements, the median is the average of the 2 middle numbers. So for example, on this one, the middle would be right here between 15 and 17. So you average 15 and 17. If you average those together, 15 plus 17 divided by 2, you'll get 16. Same thing on this one. The middle would be right here between 6 and 7. There's not one number in the middle. The middle is between 2 numbers. So you'd average those together. 6 plus 7 divided by 2, 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So remember where the median is on the road when you're driving. It's in the middle of the road. Okay, so the median for a set of numbers is the one that's in the middle. Bless you. Okay, the mode. The word mode sounds like most. Okay, so most people remember mode that way. To find the mode, look to see which number in the group appears the most often. There can be more than one mode. If you have 2 numbers that both repeat the same number of times, there's a mode. And they both count as the mode. If you have a set where no numbers repeat at all, there's no mode. That's the only time you would have a mode. Okay, so in this set here, 3 repeats 1, 2, 3 times, so it's the mode. And this one, 11 repeats twice, so 11 is the mode. Alright, so you've probably heard of median and mode before, and average, another word for average is mean, so sometimes you also hear about mean. But intersection and union. Intersection is the list of all of the elements common to both sets. If you think about where 2 roads intersect, you're talking about what they have in common, right? Up until you get here, you're just on this road. After you leave here, you're just on this road. Same thing for this one. But when you cross into here, you're actually on both roads at the same time. This is what's common to both roads. So when you look for an intersection for sets of numbers, you're looking for what they have in common. And the symbol is this little upside down U. That's the symbol for intersection. So they might ask you to find A intersect B. And they're going to give you a list of numbers for set A, a list of numbers for set B. They want you to tell what's the same. Yeah, so sometimes you'll see that symbol and you don't know what it means. That's what it means. That's the symbol for intersection. So in this case, the intersection is 5, 9, and 17. Those are the elements that are common to both sets. Okay.
I translated it and skipped.
Yes. So once you know what the symbol means, it's actually a really easy problem. Just gotta remember what the symbol is. To find the union, you list all of the elements in each set. You don't list duplicates. And the symbol for union, it's easy to remember. It looks like a U. So I just always remember U is union, the other one is intersection. I mean, that doesn't really look anything like anything to do with intersection, but I just know it's not union because it's not a U. So in this case, these 2 sets, you would start listing the numbers. So we start 2, 4, 8, 11, 13, 18. We only list 19 once. You don't list it each time it appears, you just list it if it appears. So we list 19, 33, 39, 41, 75. That's the union. It's like you can kind of think of this as a pot, and you're throwing everything into the pot. Okay. Everything that appears. That's the union. Are you ready for it? Okay. All right, so quick quiz number 10.
You better get all these numbers.
There's one easy, one medium, one hard. All right, so take about 5 minutes, answer those, and then we'll go over them.